Giants fans, Reese and McAdoodle out. True Blue Review, Week 14, and we're on. Rich, this has been a heck of a week.
It's been a heck of a few weeks.
Yeah, it really has. I almost sound like a broken record. This has been a heck of a week. I'm tired of a heck of a week. The fans spoke and management listened. Reese and McAdoodle are gone. And now we're looking at a new era coming up for the New York Giants.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes in the next few years.
Yeah.
You know, you think of the Coughlin-Manning era as arguably the best era that the Giants have had. Mm-hmm. You know, you can also go back to Parcells with Lawrence Taylor, Phil Simms, and that linebacking crew they had, Big Blue Wrecking Crew. And that obviously was an amazing run that they had. But in recent memory, Manning and Coughlin, awesome. You know, had some tremendous seasons. McAdoodle comes in and just couldn't get it done. He's just not head coach material.
Yeah. You mentioned more than once throughout our videotaping that that leadership quality is really the key. Yeah. And I don't know that we ever really saw that out of him.
We didn't see it out of him. It just didn't have it.
Yeah. It didn't seem to have any fire in him or anything. And I think that's obviously what this team ended up needing was a little more leadership from him. And maybe a little humility, too. He seemed awfully stuck on...
He just wasn't good with the media.
Yeah.
I mean, he just wasn't good with the media. And probably, if he wasn't good with the media, probably translated to how he interacted with the players. Mm-hmm. And maybe, you know, if you're not even an offensive coordinator, but if you're a line coach or something like that, you've got a few guys, it's different. When you have the whole team,
yeah,
you know, it's just a much different thing. As some guys are good at it and some guys aren't.
Yeah, we're going to talk about who's good at it and who's not a little later on, but I did want to run through Jerry Reese's tenure with the Giants because it's a long tenure. He started with the Giants in 1994 as a scout.
Right. And I didn't dislike Reese, you know. I think that people were just wondering why the draft picks didn't pan out as well as they should have, because there were a lot of shortcomings with the line, with the running game this season and last season. Their running game hasn't been good for probably about 5 seasons. Ever since Jacobs and Bradshaw, they haven't had a good running game.
Yeah. He and I think that the way the fans, at least from my perspective, that's the way I'm going to remember him. Is he never addressed it?
Yeah.
Minimally. Bringing in DJ Fluker.
He might have tried, but it just didn't.
It never panned out.
It just didn't happen.
Eric Flowers is going to be one of his failures.
Yeah.
I think. And it'll be interesting to see if he's even on the team next year.
I mean, Flowers was playing a little bit better this year, but then
he fell apart again.
You see how he gets owned once in a while, and it's just like, man, you can't have that.
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't have it.
So then, moving forward into McAdoodle's tenure, obviously a lot shorter. He came in as an offensive coordinator in 2014 season.
Yeah, it was under the guise that he was some offensive genius, but you see how anemic this offense has been. You're like, I don't know how he ever got that reputation.
Yeah, and last year they had an 11-5 season. That was not because of the offense.
Defense totally won those games.
Exactly. The offense never scored. It never panned out.
I mean, the offense had some good drives.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
But they just couldn't.
And I don't know
score.
As much as it seemed like he wanted to throw that on Eli, which is really what brought us to this situation now. even looking at Eli's numbers, I can't necessarily say that should all be on Eli, because Eli has always been the type of quarterback that needs a solid running game behind him. He needs a solid offensive line. He's a pocket quarterback.
He's like any other pocket quarterback.
Right.
And even if a quarterback is mobile, I mean, if your line is not good,
right,
you're going to get sacked a lot, you know. You're going to get rushed. You're going to get hit from the blind side. And I don't care who you are back there.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. And then with this year, with all the injuries that occurred to the wide receiving core, and even the injuries and the flip-flopping in the offensive line, I just don't know how you can put all of that on Eli's back. So obviously, with McAdoodle taking Eli out and putting in Geno Smith, I think that was finally what sealed the deal for him.
I guess. I'm still confused as to why they did it.
Yeah.
I still don't see the point.
Yeah. So we move forward now into the new temporary head coach.
The interim guys.
Interim head coach, Steve Spagnuolo, and Kevin Abrams. You were talking a little bit earlier about, are there men who can coach teams and men who can just coach, smaller units?
Guys that are more X's and O's guys.
Yeah. And to some extent, it remains to be seen with Steve Spagnuolo, but he has had his chance when he was with the Cardinals. And a 10-38 record.
It's the Rams.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Rams. Why was that?
You're thinking St. Louis.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
So the Rams, a 10-38 record does not constitute head coaching material.
He was not a good coach with. I don't think that Spags is a good head coach.
Yeah.
I don't want to disparage Spags, but you have to look at the record.
Yeah.
And so we say, well, the Rams, they weren't a good team or whatever, but I mean, maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the extent of say he had in building the team or anything like that. But he's a heck of a defensive coordinator. They've had a tough season. This defense has.
He's definitely had good games and some wonderful game plans that he's put up. I think that the defense is fairly consistent under Spagnuolo. Mm-hmm. I think it could be better.
Yeah.
Like we talked about how the Giants give up plays to the tight ends. I think that's a weakness in Spagnuolo's scheme.
Yeah. Good point.
Because that's very consistent against Giants defenses with Spagnuolo at the helm.
Yeah.
That they give up big plays to tight ends. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So, sorry. Moving on to Kevin Abrams. He's been with the Giants for 18 years, assistant GM for the most part. I don't know. I guess they'll have to evaluate him and see if he's GM material or not. Yeah. He's been under Reese the whole time.
I mean, him I don't know, but I think that he's probably as good a choice as any. He'd probably try him out for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
Just to see how it moves. And, and I don't want to say Steve Spagnuolo can't be. I just don't know. And I think that we're just in that position right now with the Giants where you just don't know what's going to happen. And what you're looking for is maybe I'm already feeling like they're probably not going to have a good season next season. Mm-hmm. But then after the next season after that, you want to see improvement, and then the next season after that, you want to see want to see a team that's improving. You don't want to see a team that's going backwards like they are now.
Yeah.
Well,
whoever comes in as head coach, it's not to say that they're not going to have some solid material to work with.
Oh, the Giants have a pretty good roster.
Yeah.
And and hopefully whoever is the coach can get Beckham under control a little bit more. Look, I love Beckham's passion, and his skill level is off the charts. I mean, but once in a while he does something dumb, and it's like you got to get that under control.
Yeah.
You have to get that under control. Outside of that, Shepard's been a good choice. It's been a good pickup. And now we've got Ingram.
I know.
You've got some real talent on the offensive side of the ball, and I don't think that Eli is done.
Yeah.
I still think that Eli can do it. But now I have to think about the running game and the offensive line. So the receiving core right now, with the tight end, is okay. They'll probably bring in another receiver to replace Brandon Marshall, who didn't pan out.
Yeah, I think he still has one more year left on his contract too. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
So far, I'm not. I mean, he almost didn't exist on the Giants this year.
Yeah,
really. It was.
Yeah.
You just didn't even see him. He just didn't really do anything.
Yeah, it was when he started finally doing something, he got injured. So we'll never have any idea of what he could have really been on this team. But they may give him another chance, at least to come in if he's still under contract.
It's possible. They'll probably bring another receiver, and then the competition will be there.
Right.
And Marshall will have to win the spot.
Well, Mike Sullivan is still going to be the offensive coordinator. Interestingly, when McAdoodle finally gave up the offensive coordinating duties, remember correctly, that was the Denver game.
The play calling.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That was the Denver game, and all of a sudden the offense looked more unpredictable than they were before them, which was very predictable. But then we saw them go back to predictability again. So I'd like to see what he can do now that the influence of McAdoodle is gone. Again,
I'm hoping for the best in these last 4 games. I'm hoping they can play spoiler.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice to see them win over Dallas, this game that's coming up this week, because if they do, then Dallas is really going to be, or have a real tough road to get to the playoffs. And that would be great.
Yeah, that's what we want. At this point. It should be noted that John Mara was very specific in saying he did not want these games tanked, and that was the terminology he used. He wants them shooting for wins, and I think that's a great way to go out. I agree. You and I spoke about this before. We do not agree with tanking games just to get draft picks.
No.
Okay.
Because then you get a draft pick, and then the guy's a bust. It's dumb. It's dumb.
So Spags has already determined that Eli's going to start. Okay. Now, he may start. We're not sure how far into the game he's going to go before they maybe bring in Davis Webb. I think if it was me, I would prefer to see more of Davis Webb. Let Eli come in. Let's get this thing going. I mean, right now there's such a cluster, what going on. Maybe he can kind of bring a little cohesiveness to the situation, and then maybe bring Davis Webb in the second half. I still want to see what this kid has. What did Reese see in him to squander a first-round pick on him? There's something that's got to be there.
He was a 3rd-round pick.
I thought he was first. He's 3rd?
No, it was Flowers.
Oh,
no, not Flowers.
No.
Ingram.
Oh, Ingram. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. But what did he see in Davis Webb? Nevertheless,
he's got the measurables.
Yeah,
he's got the measurables, but they're still saying he's not ready. It's like, how long does it take you to get ready?
Yeah. You got to throw him to the wolves sometime. And Eli has been working with him for, a week. So the week he had off for the last game.
He's been with the Giants organization now for almost the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd like to see what he can do.
It's time to, but we'll see what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen with Eli in the offseason. Right. And then on top of that, you're talking about Mike Sullivan. Is Mike Sullivan going to be gone? I mean, who comes in as the head coach?
Sure.
Maybe the head coach decides to bring his own staff with him. Maybe Spagnuolo's gone. Maybe Mike Sullivan's gone. I mean, there could be a lot of changes in the offseason that we just don't know what's going to happen. And one of those changes could be that Eli goes to another team. Mm-hmm. But, if they bring in another quarterback, if they draft one and there's a competition, fine.
Sure. I don't know that they're going to even keep Geno Smith. Again, that was a Reese thing.
Yeah.
So, who's to say? I mean, it's really up in the air. There's some excitement in this, though. I mean, what are we going to get?
I just hope we get to a point where we can get a team that's consistent year to year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a consistent team. I mean, you look at these teams, obviously the Patriots got to that point. and they've been tremendous. But the Steelers, they seem like they're always in it. And I'm sure there's a few other teams out there, but those two come to mind right off the bat. Those two teams just seem, and the Seahawks have also been.
Right.
Now I think they're going to go to the playoffs for like the 6th straight year if they make it this year.
Yeah, they're still shooting for the wild card.
You're looking for that. You're looking for that. I mean, you have the Giants who have a Super Bowl win,
right.
And then the next year they make the playoffs. That was the Plaxico Burress shoot yourself in the leg year, and then the year after that they didn't make the playoffs. And then the year after that, I don't think they made the playoffs. And then, boom, they win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And ever since the Super Bowl, they've never gone back to the playoffs, except last year they had the 11-5 record. They haven't been in the playoffs in like 5 of the last 6 years.
So yeah, let's go back a little bit, and this is a little bit off of the subject that we're dealing with, but we're talking about the NFC East here. Tell the viewers about what you know about the NFC East and repeat. Division leaders.
I mean, I don't think they've had a repeat division leader since the Eagles did it in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And remember, the Eagles had about 4 or 5 years in a row that they went to like the NFC Championship. And then they went to the Super Bowl one time.
Yeah.
And they lost to the Colts, I believe, Peyton Manning's team.
And I think that to bring perspective to all this, when we see other divisions, and we see teams like the Patriots, Pittsburgh, they completely dominate their division year after year after year.
Well, Pittsburgh is consistent into the playoffs, but the only other team that gives them a real run in there is the Ravens.
That's true. That's true.
But Pittsburgh is still in it.
You're going to see
as
those
a wild
two,
card,
right? Yeah, but with the NFC East this year is a perfect example of how crazy the NFC East is.
True.
Because Dallas and the Giants were picked to be at the top. And here we are. Now, granted, the Skins basically have blown their load, looks like.
They've been kind of... The Skins are the only team that seem to be pretty much a 500 team almost every year. They did have that year with Griffin.
Right.
I think they had 11 wins.
Right.
But then he got hurt, and then they found themselves back at 500.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's between the other, the Giants, the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys weren't good for a long time.
No, I mean that right now they're 6-6, and that was not even expected. As much as the Giants fans are gripping about a 2-10 season right now. Granted, at least the Dallas fans have something that they're still trying to play for, but they're not. Their season is not where they thought it would be either.
True.
And that is typical of the NFC East.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, we'll see what happens this weekend. There's a lot of speculation and a lot of names being thrown around in reference to new head coaches. We're not going to get into that today, mainly because right now it's got to be narrowed down and we got to get closer to the end of the season.
People have their favorites,
certainly.
And they say, "Oh, what about this guy? What about that guy?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that guy is not going to do it.
I have my
that guy's still under
as well.
contract, man. He's
That's right. That's right. So in a sense, it's somewhat irrelevant to really talk about it now, but we'll start putting a list together as time goes and see what we can narrow down.
It would be nice to see a younger coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we talked about the guy from the Patriots.
Josh McDaniel.
He was also a head coach.
I know. He's on my. We're not talking about this. He's on my leaderboard. And my wife, who's a Pats fan, is telling me to shut my mouth right now. But
they're also talking about not the offensive coordinator, but the defensive coordinator, the guy with the big.
Matt Patricia. Yeah, that's another one that's not allowed to be said in my house. But I like Matt Patricia a lot too. I mean,
guys aren't going to stay assistant coaches forever. Like I said, Josh McDaniel already been a head coach.
Yeah, Denver.
He went to Denver.
Yeah, Denver. Yeah.
He went to Denver the year that they went to the playoffs with what's his name? Tebow, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. I'd be doing
Josh
Tebow.
McDaniels loved Tebow, man.
Yeah. So. Anyway, let's go back a little bit over to the Oakland game. Just quick review. I think what Geno Smith showed us is the offense is no different with him in it than it was with Eli.
It was basically the same team.
Yeah, it was the same team. I mean, some great drives.
He's got some mobility.
Sure.
Everybody knows Geno Smith got mobility. But same thing. I mean, he got hit a couple times, fumbles the ball.
Sure. A couple of bad fumbles, and it's no different.
And the Giants defense, they are right there. They got that turnover, and then the very next play, they turn the ball back over to the Raiders, right in scoring position. That's just a terrible play.
Yeah.
But if it was Eli, the same thing might have happened. Because it's not like, I think it was Khalil Mack. A guy just came right in and just took it from him.
Yeah.
It's like.
I know, we're beating on Eli.
Nobody blocked the guy. The guy just came straight in and hammered him,
Yep.
So you give the guy, you can't give a guy, it doesn't matter who's back there, man.
That's right.
You got these big dudes flying through the big holes in the line and just crushing your quarterback. There's nothing you can do.
You got a revolving door offensive line. And there's nothing that he can do about it. So.
And how bad our running game has been is also reflective of that. You don't need amazing, super duper Le'Veon Bell type of a running back. Hey, if you got a guy like that, that's awesome because he can make dudes miss. Right. He gets in the open field, he very dangerous. But the bottom line is that you got to get into the open field. You got to get into the secondary. You got to get past your line. And this line just does not have the ability, in my mind, to create those plays.
You know what I thought was interesting? They put Perkins back in.
Oh my God!
Were they trying to prove a point? I don't know, but
I don't even get that. Like, why did he earn that? How do you earn it? You can't earn that.
No. Hey, star of the game goes to Evan Ingram, though.
Yeah,
best career game for him. Seven catches, 99 yards.
So
and a touchdown.
Him and Geno were definitely connecting.
Yeah.
And he wasn't dropping the ball like he was.
The week prior. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was warmer.
So he had a good game, but Shepard's kind of been injured. So
he's got a hammy right now too.
He doesn't have that speed on that because. He's kind of like Beckham where he comes across on that slant.
Yeah.
He gets the ball and he just sneaks around the defender like this and then he's gone,
Yeah.
So he didn't have a great game.
And now, moving forward to the Dallas Cowboys so we can keep this thing moving. They're 6-6. NFL Power Ranking 14. Offense, they're fourth in rushing at 138 yards a game.
That's good. Of course,
and Morris. Well, Zeke's
Elliott's
out.
gone. That rushing is their entire season.
Right.
Morris had a good game last week,
but
the last couple weeks before that, he didn't have a very good game.
Right.
And they had this other guy that was playing too. I don't know. I can't think of his name.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to throw Morris back out there because and Alfred Morris, when he was on the Skins, he was good.
Yeah.
So I expect they're going to put him back out there, and we'll see what they get with him. They're 29th in passing, not so good. 29th in passing.
Wow, are they that bad? Wow.
And we've seen over the last few games with Dak Prescott, right now he's got 9 interceptions, and 7 of those were 2 games ago. I wrote that down. Philadelphia 4 interceptions there, and 3 against the Chargers.
Wow, he fell off.
So talk about falling off big time. I'm sure he wants to come back and kind of prove himself a little bit.
I think it's going to be a competitive game.
I apologize. I read that wrong. It's 3 interceptions against Philadelphia, 2 interceptions against reading sacks. Nevertheless, that's 5 interceptions in those 2 games.
Yeah.
Out of 9 on the season. So he's fallen off a little bit. I think he's shaking a little bit, but that guy can burn anybody. So you definitely got to key on him like you normally do.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. What are your thoughts on the Dallas game? Obviously, spoiler.
It's going to be competitive. Is all I can say. I don't think they're going to come there and blow the Giants out. I just don't see it.
We're playing at Giants Stadium.
The Giants are going to get up for this game.
The return of Eli.
I think that with the coaching change, I think there's going to be just some general enthusiasm amongst the team.
Right.
So we'll see how it goes. I think that the Giants will give them a game. Dallas is not that good of a team. They're okay. They're a middle of the road
They're
team.
6-6.
Yeah,
they're a
they're a middle of the
6-6
road
team.
team.
Yeah.
And I believe that the Giants can beat them. You know, their main defensive guy, Sean Lee, is out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that guy is a difference maker.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, with their main guy out on offense, Elliott. I know Prescott's good. You know, for the bad games that he had, he's been impressive. So they probably won't have a terrible game.
Yeah.
It'll be competitive. I just hope the Giants can score some points.
Yeah.
Maybe a fire get Leonard or Eli. I don't know. I mean,
You know what? I think a week off and the whole thing with the streak being over, I think he can go out there and just have some fun.
yeah.
I mean, you know,
I hope so.
he doesn't have any of that stress over him. Now it's just about going out and doing it. The fans are going to love seeing him back. He's going to get a huge ovation.
Oh, he is.
When he gets on that field. And other than that, you know, I want to go on and thank Tin Cannon for providing some good beer tonight, and Big Blue Nova for their support. And thank you, Rich.
Thanks, John.
Sabrina, Julie, and thank you for watching all season. I didn't get to thank you last time, but always thank you. Please leave whatever comments you have at the bottom of the YouTube screen, and give us a like, subscribe, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Let's go, Big Blue.
Thanks, Giants fans.